What you do basically is split them on the machines, then we put them into brine for 10 minutes. You don't want them too salty. Obviously, brining is a very important part of it, because if you leave them in too long, they're too salty. If you leave them in not enough time, then they won't take the smoke, because it's the salt and the heat from the fires that give them the colour. So that's a very important part of it. We hang them on the sticks and then we put them up into the smokehouses. They're roughly 40 foot high, the smokehouses. Obviously the more you put in, the higher you've got to go up, and you have to climb up like a crab. So you have to literally put your legs apart, arms apart, you climb up, somebody passes you the stick, and then you put them in. Now again, if they're not tended correctly, when you pass them up to you, they can fall off. So obviously the women have to tend them correctly. We don't do massive quantities now like they used to. So we're probably going about 15, 20 feet up. You've still got to climb up. But that's what really makes our product unique in the Isle of Man now, because it's the time, the craft, the energy you put into doing it. And there's no shortcuts. There's a right way and there's a right way. You can't change it. If you want to go home early, you can't, because it depends on the direction of the wind, humidity, temperature, lots of things. So if you want to go home, the only way you can do them quicker is by giving them heat, because heat smokes them quicker. The more heat you give them, the more likelihood you are of ruining the product. So when you've done all the work pre-smoking, to ruin it by not smoking them correct, it's a sin. So you've got to take your time. It's all about taking your time. So what we would do is we'd put 6 fires in there, 6 mounds, 3 on the right, 3 on the left, and a gap of about a couple of feet in the middle. On the back 2/3 of each fire we put oak and sawdust, which will be dampened off. So when we light the fires, when the flame comes along, hits the smoke, hits the oak and stuff, that's when you get the flavour, because you want heat in there as well. So the white gives you the heat, the oak and sawdust gives you the flavour. And the gap in the middle is where I walk, because every half an hour you've got to go in and reset the fires. So obviously you don't want to be walking over fires, because it's a good way to get burnt, and you've got to just watch them. It's watching them really. Once you start smoking them, after about 3 or 4 hours, I'd go and check them, because the herring that lowest down and nearest the fires, obviously they're getting the bulk of the heat. So if they're done, we start taking them out. But if they're not done, we know that nothing's done. So I just go in there, have a little look around, and it's all done by, well, the fires are still going. We let the fires go down maybe 75% to keep the heat in there, because you need the heat. Shut the doors downstairs, go up, still loads of smoke in there. Put my floors down so I can walk in. I go in and have a quick look around. And I can tell by feel as well. If you get a drop of oil on the tail of the kipper or the fillet, it's a good indication it's done. So just by touching them, also you can tell by the texture. Obviously if it's wet still, it's not done enough. If it's a bit drier and there's a bit of oil on the tail, then I'll just whip them out, have a quick look, get them out into the light so I can see them, and then start from there. Nothing's done uniformly. It's impossible. What you're trying to do is get the most consistent product you can, but when you're using the fires, it's not the way we do it. It's quite difficult to do it, because when we go in, we might have to climb up, take some from the top and move them down to the bottom, because the bottom row could be done, that could be maybe 10 sticks or 20 sticks each side. The next row maybe it's not quite done, right? But there could be maybe half a dozen sticks that you give them another set of fires, they're going to be too smoked. So I'd take them out and move them further away to the other side, because obviously the heat goes in, hits the back wall. So by the back wall, that's the hottest spot. If you go to the other side, the wall further end, that's the coolest spot. So you'd move those 6 or 10 sticks up near the back, climb up, pick the ones that are higher up because they wouldn't be getting so much smoke, move them out the bottom, put another set of fires in, then you might get them done, then you'd probably get the next layer done, and the half a dozen or so you'd move to the end, you get them done, then you climb up again and move them down. The first lot you get out, you might only get a dozen sticks out, then you could get 50 sticks out, then you get 150 sticks out, and you get 300 sticks out, and the more you had in, the more you get out. Very labour intensive. Like when I first started, it was taking such a long time to smoke them, probably 2 or 3 hours more than it should, because I was sitting watching the fires, and oh God, I've got too much heat on there, I might ruin them, and you're overcompensating, and over a period of time, over the years, then you can realise what heat you can take. I mean, touch wood, I've never ruined any in 25 years, never ruined any, which is pretty good. Maybe the odd one was, I wasn't 100% happy with it, but they were still okay, 7 out of 10. I tried to be getting 8.5, 9 out of 10. You never get 100, you never get 10 out of 10, ever, in anything, I don't think. Doesn't matter what you do, you're never going to get 100%. But I always did it the best of my ability. My dad always said to me, son, don't expect somebody to eat something you wouldn't eat yourself. And I've got high standards with food. I like my food. And that's always been in my mind, right? If I wouldn't eat that, or I'm not happy to sell that as the best one, then you don't sell it as the best one, you sell it as a second. And that's all through my life, I've always done that. I've always give 100%, and try the best I can, in everything I've ever done,